Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start with Chris from Sky Sports News. Thank you.
Afternoon, Pierre.
Good afternoon.
Just start with some team news. Ismail Assar and Chadi Riyad, how are they getting on?
For Ismail Assar, he is always in individual session because he is really in pain with his groin, and that's why you didn't see him with us today. But we prepare him in it times. I thought it will be quicker, but I'm not medicine. That's why I wait for him and we prepare him to come back with us.
And Riyad, how's he looking? Do you have the scan? Any updates with him?
Yeah, for the moment we need another advice from a specialist because it's always difficult to give a good schedule for this kind of thing. That's why I prefer to wait and to give you an official position.
With Sarr, is there any chance you think he could play on Friday against Man City?
Sarr?
Yeah, any
no,
chance?
No chance.
No chance, okay. What have you learned about your team over the last few days, Pierre? Because the first game against Everton was a loss. But how are you feeling? What have you learned about the team?
They were really frustrated, and I understood by this way they are aware of what happened on the pitch, what happened on this game, especially because everybody is agreed with the idea that we have to score in the first half, and maybe the scenario could be different. But football is not only about how you deserve to win, how you deserve to score. You have to. It's only about efficiency, and we weren't. That's why the game is like this, and we have to improve how we create the chances, how we can finish them to have a better life.
You've spoken in the last couple of weeks about how important the Crystal Palace fans are in your decision to join the club. So how much are you looking forward to your first game, competitive game at Selhurst Park on Friday?
I think it will be a wonderful moment, but I prefer to have a wonderful moment at the end of the game with a good news. That's why I don't think about me in this situation. The most important thing is the team and the result for sure, because we prepare all the weeks for that to make them happy. And okay, they will be happy to see us, but I think they prefer to see us win.
Axel Disasi, we spoke a little bit about him last week, but it's now confirmed. Why did you decide to sign him?
Now it's official, so it's a good news for us, especially with what happened with Chadi. That's why it's important for us. He came quickly, but we have to wait a little bit because the negotiations, as I told you, are hard, and at the end we find an agreement with him and with his club. That's why now he's ready. He made his first session with us today. We will see if he's able to play tomorrow because he didn't play in collective conditions during the beginning of the season. But he is a football player. He knows his job, and we have the opportunity to help him to win time to come in the team.
What do you like about him?
A lot of things. First of all, to be stable, to help the team in this department because we have an injury and we wanted to recruit. That's why we need maybe another player in this department. But with him, we are waiting. He gave us the confidence. He gave us his experience. He is able to play good with the ball. He is able to defend in different positions in the back three. That's why it's a good option for us.
There's been a lot of noise around Jean-Philippe Nketiah and this club, I'd say, in the last few months. Obviously, in January, it was quite open that a move to AC Milan fell through.
Yeah.
There was a story on the weekend that the BBC put out about him arguing the validity of his contract. Now, I know Crystal Palace are happy with the contract. They think he's sufficiently a Crystal Palace player. But have you spoken to Jean-Philippe? Is he happy? What do you make of his situation at the moment?
I speak with him every day, and in front of me I have a guy funny, happy to be here, He gives his best in every session. I didn't see a player who has problem with the club or with us. That's why he played the last game as a starter. You imagine if we have a problem with him, he will not play as a starter. And now it's just a problem who will be resolved. But it's maybe with the man, but not with the player, if you want.
Is that easy to manage though? Because clearly, you know, he's not refusing to play. He played on the weekend. He's always had that with Crystal Palace. But it's quite clear that there are things going on in the background behind, I guess, with him. So how is that to handle? Are you happy that he'll stay beyond the window?
Yeah, I think he will stay. And like I told you, he has the behavior of someone who is happy to be here, want to be here, and prepared to be here all the season. That's why I understand your question, but I have no doubt about that.
I guess I have a similar question about Ismail Assar as well, because I think just before we started speaking, there was a report that Liverpool have a strong interest in him now. When that happens, inevitably, with a massive club at Liverpool coming in, is that going to be hard to keep him also? I
understand for everybody that to have this kind of contact is difficult because you hesitate a lot, but for the moment he's with us. He is under contract, as I told you. He is injured, and maybe you can make a link between his injury and the situation, but for me he is honest, and I have no problem with that. I spoke with him this morning anymore about that, yesterday about that too, and we just want him on the pitch, and all the rest is for the other people.
I'm not going to just chuck all these different names at you, but is it going to be hard to keep all of these amazing players that you have? Because, like I said, those two I've mentioned before have clear, obvious interest. Other players, I know you have interest in them from other clubs as well. Do you foresee a situation where Crystal Palace might lose some of those players and others are going to have to come in?
You know, football is like this now. We know that when it's a transfer window, there's a lot of noise, a lot of soft for the player. Maybe some of them are not really comfortable with this situation. And their agent too, their family too. That's why it's not really a good period when you are inside in a club. But you know, when it will be finished, we will only be concerned but with our performance, and we have just to wait for that.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you.
Premier League.
Hi, Pierre. Just going back to Axel Disasi, we saw last season how, you know, he hadn't played for, I think it was something like 8 months for Chelsea. He went on loan at West Ham and, you know, he was putting in man-of-the-match performances. What are his fitness levels like at the moment? And in terms of his mentality, how important is that mentality, the fact that he's willing to play and come into the team and put in really good performances as well?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because he trained, but he trained in certain conditions that we have not certainty about his ability to play 11v11. We saw him this morning in a small-sided games, but I know he worked a lot. He worked with our fitness coach in Monaco before, and he told him all he did during this summer, and I'm not able to do that, to be clear. And what is sure that he is really happy to come. He wanted to come. It's not a B, C, or D plan. If you want, it was his priority, and we are really happy of this situation. Now we just want to see him in good condition, and maybe Friday. Why not?
If he does play on Friday, of course, he'll be coming up against Erling Haaland. How do you make a plan to stop a player like that?
There's two options. The first option is to think about the space by let them not too much space, or the second option is by cutting the passing line higher as we can. So we will be between these two options and deal with that. Depends of the moment of the game, but the most important thing, I think, like this kind of team, is to optimize the time we have the ball and when we attack. And if you are able to attack against this kind of team, and if you are able to make some problems for them, I think the psychology of the game could change, because they have the habits to have the ball, they have the habits to control the play. That's why we have to be ambitious in the play and to try to do our best with the ball, because the two last game against us was 2 times 3-0, but like I told you, we are not victim. We want to be in the head of our opponent.
And I'm sure, obviously, you watched a lot of Man City under Pep Guardiola, but when you're thinking about this Enzo Maresca side, what differences do you see in this side compared to a Pep side?
I see it's more or less in the same line, because the psychology of these two managers are not the same, because they are really different, but they are similar, if you want. And the way of playing is a little bit different, because I think with Enzo Maresca, the team will be not better, but more turn to transition, if you want. And I know that Pep like to control the play, like to enjoy with the ball, and he give this kind of message to his player. But they work together. I know Enzo Maresca was with U21 of the B team during Pep was the head coach there. So if they were very different, I think they cannot work together.
Thanks, Pierre.
Thank you.
Thank you. Emma from the BBC.
Hello.
Hello.
Going back to the Everton game, you said that one of the things that slightly concerned you was that you felt that the players maybe gave up too early. Is that something that you've addressed?
Yeah, I agree with that. And when I watched the game a second time by being quiet in my office, I have the same feeling. And I think maybe the second goals put us in this situation. But when I saw the first half, what we did during this half, we must have more confidence to play, because we are able to do things that maybe we cannot imagine at the beginning of this game. And now, when you are able to do this kind of thing, you are able to do it during a long time, and that's what we need to improve.
With the situation with Jean-Philippe Mateta, with Sarr, possibly with Adam Wharton as well, while the transfer window is still open, have you had situations like that before as a manager, where you've had players, there's been that period of uncertainty with certain players?
I have this kind of situation when I was in Lyon, and you can see, you can verify that, but my points average were really less during the transfer window, and much better during the normal time. But I don't think that this kind of situation is always the same, and I want to change the thing. I want to improve, and I learned a lot of this situation, because I remember I was too much nice at this moment. And that's why maybe it's happened like this.
Okay, so you maybe not be so nice?
My name is Sage, wise in English. It's difficult for me not to be nice, but maybe stronger.
Stronger.
Yeah, stronger.
And with Jean-Philippe Mateta, it feels like a kind of unique situation, but you're saying currently you're confident that he remains happy to play for Crystal Palace?
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. Like I told you, I spoke with him every day, and you understand when the guy in front of you are not in a good way, and he feels really good.
Your first home game, competitive home game in charge, will be under the floodlights on a Friday night against a team, with the size and the honours that Manchester City have had over the previous season. So, how much are you looking forward to that?
For me, it's not the context who changed my feeling for this game. I only prepared him for a special game against a special opponent. and that's the only thing in my head. All the other thing, it's secondary if you want.
What are you hoping that the fans? How do you hope the fans will feel at full time on Friday?
At full time,
Yeah.
I will give my life to make them happy. I cannot do more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Phil from Press Association.
Just earlier you spoke about Mateta and you said you were very confident that he will stay. Is that the same for Sarr? You think he will stay?
For the moment, yeah, because you know when you have three years of contracts, it's not easy to leave.
Okay. And just on the game, obviously Manchester City have got a new manager in place. Is now a good time to play them because obviously they're rebuilding? Is it better to have them early on in the season?
Yeah, you know, it's the same situation for us. They have a lot of players in World Cup, a new manager, less time to work, but they have a best past, if you want, maybe more certainty. But I like the surprise.
Thank you. And finally, we're going to go to Matthew from Canal Plus. He has some questions in French. You'll have to tell us what.
In French, I have to. It will be easier for me.
Faut garder vos habitudes. Pierre, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Pour revenir en français sur Axel Disasi, ça va être l'un de vos défenseurs les plus expérimentés en Première Ligue. Finalement, il a cette expérience de 3 ans. Il a connu, il a joué le haut de tableau avec Chelsea. Il a connu une grosse bataille pour la relégation avec West Ham la saison dernière. Est-ce que vous comptez sur lui directement comme le leader de votre défense, en plus de ce lien en français que vous allez avoir naturellement? Quel rôle il doit avoir dans cette défense de Crystal Palace cette saison?
En tout cas, ce sont beaucoup de critères qui ont compté dans le choix de ce joueur-là plutôt qu'un autre. Et du coup, on est très content qu'il nous rejoigne. Maintenant, ce qui est important, c'est pas de voir le profil et voir le contexte, c'est comment le profil s'intègre dans le contexte. Et dans cette situation, il faut attendre un peu de temps avant de voir quel rôle il va jouer exactement. Do you want I translate or not? Yeah. He asked me why we took Disasi, because he has a lot of qualities, and I replied that the reason why we choose him, his leadership, this kind of thing, his experience. But I told that the profile and the context, you have to go to make a good weddings with that, because sometimes the context is more important than your profile, and you need to adapt. That's why we need a little time to take our decision for his position in our squad.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I keep asking in French, but Pierre is happy with making the translation as well. Par rapport au match qui arrive vendredi, vous allez donc recevoir Enzo Maresca.
Oui.
Est-ce que c'est un entraîneur? Comment est-ce que vous voyez cet entraîneur? Lui aussi, il a une expérience en Angleterre avec une promotion avec Leicester. Il a déjà Chelsea et maintenant Manchester City à son compte. Vous avez des similarités dans le jeu, la façon de faire confiance aux jeunes? On a vu qu'il avait mis pour son premier match Nico O'Reilly et Rico Lewis au milieu de terrain et sur les ailes en plus des 4 défenseurs. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de l'approche de ce jeune entraîneur en Première Ligue?
Au-delà d'être un jeune entraîneur, c'est un joueur qui a joué plus de 400 matchs à haut niveau, donc il connaît très bien le milieu et il a prouvé par le passé au travers de ses différentes expériences et notamment le fait de gagner la Coupe du Monde des clubs avec Chelsea, que c'était un entraîneur différent. Et je pense que si Manchester City l'a choisi après Pep Guardiola, c'est pour des raisons justement qui sont en rapport avec son profil et ses compétences. Donc je nous souhaite à tous les deux le meilleur, mais je lui souhaite un peu plus tardivement que moi, puisqu'on joue contre lui vendredi. Donc si ça pouvait commencer samedi, ce serait bien.
Vous allez aussi retrouver Ryan Cherki en face à Manchester City. Après que vous soyez séparés à Lyon, vous aviez dit que sa seule limite, c'était celle qui se fixait dans sa propre tête.
Ouais.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de son évolution depuis un an avant de le retrouver?
Je ne change pas d'un millimètre les pensées que j'ai sur ce joueur-là et sur ce garçon-là. C'est un joueur différent, exceptionnel, qui comprend le jeu. Qui comprend le jeu un peu différemment que tout le monde, qui voit des passes que les autres ne voient pas. Donc je lui souhaite de garder cette particularité-là et de continuer à s'amuser sur le terrain, car comme il le dit, lui, le football, c'est pas les datas, c'est plutôt du football à l'ancienne. Et j'aime l'entendre dire ça, surtout du haut de ses 23 ans.
Dernière question, ça va être vos débuts à Crystal Palace. après avoir découvert le stade le plus moderne de la Première Ligue la semaine dernière pour vos débuts. Vous n'avez pas encore joué de match de compétition à Sellers Park, mais du temps que vous avez passé dedans en match amical ou dès votre arrivée, qu'est-ce que vous avez ressenti dans ce stade? Qu'est-ce que ce stade vous dit quand vous êtes dedans?
Pour l'instant, on n'a pas joué dedans, mais j'ai fait ma présentation là-bas. Donc c'est vrai que quand on rentre dans ce stade, on sent l'histoire. On sent qu'il y a quelque chose de lourd qui pèse. Et c'est une belle responsabilité qui m'est confiée pour le coup. Et la deuxième chose, c'est qu'on est impatient de découvrir ce stade fonctionner. Parce qu'effectivement, Everton, c'est un stade moderne avec une grosse ambiance. Mais on m'a toujours vanté l'ambiance ici à domicile, donc je suis impatient de voir ça, mais encore une fois, comme je vous l'ai dit, ce qui est le plus important, c'est de disputer le match, et si on arrive à le disputer dans un contexte de joie à la fin, c'est extraordinaire.
Merci Pierre.
Thank you. Okay.
Too much thing to translate.
Yeah. Is there a summary?
Yeah, the summary, not the question, but my answer. To choose Maresca after Pep, it's a big responsibility, and that's a proof of his quality and competence. The difference between the two stadiums, Everton is most modern and Selhurst is historical. And the most important thing is not the place, but the atmosphere in the place. And your third question? And Ryan Cherky, I told it was a different player. He don't like data. He's, as he said, an old-fashioned player. And I like this kind of guy because he loves the football, he enjoys on the pitch, and he see passes that other players don't see. That's why I wish him to stay like this all his life.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That's the end of the broadcast section.